Hello, everyone. Oh, I have not gone live on YouTube in so long. Look at me. Look at me. So, usually I do a recap of Love Island USA season 7. I do a recap with my fellow YouTuber, content creator, Entertainment in Color. But she has had so much going on for the past week that she hasn't been able to recap. And so today I wanted to just go ahead and recap my thoughts myself just to get them out because I'm like, I have to talk about this. And so I didn't send out a reminder. I didn't make a whole advertisement that I was going to go live, but I wanted to just recap and get my thoughts out there. So I am going to just try to recap myself. I'm so used to her doing the recap. She takes all the notes, and I just add my 2 cents and commentary. So this is different for me than take my own notes and do my own recap solo. So we shall see how this goes. So I'm going to first talk about Saturday's episode, which was the After Sun episode. Sophie Monk was back as the host. She had the panel on there again, which was Sally Callum, and this one, Callum, should we say. And this time they were joined by Paige from Summer House, who had hosted a challenge earlier in the week. And so that was the panel on Saturday. So they gave a weekly review about just how the week went and how they felt about everything that happened in the villa over the past week. And then also, they wanted to ask Paige because the rumors have been spreading online. She had done she had come to host a challenge, and we saw her at the beginning of the challenge. Her introduce the challenge, and then halfway through the challenge, we didn't see her anymore, and everybody was like, "What happened to Paige?" And so no one knew, and it was all these conspiracy theories and just wild theories going on the internet. So she wanted to be able to, tell us what happened. And she said that she just had gotten exhaustion and she just didn't want to have to go to a hospital in Fiji. So she was like, either I'm going to take a break or I'm going to have to go to the emergency room in Fiji later on that day. So she decided to just go ahead and take a break. So that's what she did. And that's why we didn't see her for the other half of the challenge. She did have on a cute outfit, right? It was green and it was suede. And that Fiji sun and wearing suede, although she looks fierce, I just think that wasn't the right material to wear out in the Fiji sun. And I think her body let her know that that was not the best decision. They say beauty is pain, and we see that she looks beautiful, but had to go through some painful heat exhaustion as a result. So we move on from that, and we talk about uh, Ariana and how she's doing. She comes out, she looks fabulous. She has on this multicolored, like bejeweled dress. It's short. She has her hair in a high ponytail with a flip at the end. And she always looks stunning, always. And her hair is always stunning. I've started following her hairdresser on Instagram just because he just does her hair so well. It's just stunning. So we talked about that she came out. She talked about how she felt about having to go and deliver the news and sending Charlie home. She said that she was all ready to go out in the villa, and Charlie and Hannah were having that special moment. So they waited for them to have the moment. And then she felt bad because she knew they were having this moment, but she already knew the news beforehand. So she knew that when she got in the villa, she was going to have to tell him he was in the bottom and then leave it up to the islanders to vote. So that happened and Charlie got sent home. And so she talked about that. She also had a message about how people have been posting like really mean things on the islanders, like social media pages, and she was saying you still have time to delete it because they're not out and they don't have their phones. And some people are doxing the islanders, and she's just like, let's just be kind. These are still individuals who are human beings who have hearts, and let's not do that. Like, it's just fun games. Like, let's not go too far. So that was her plea to the public, and I hope America listens and they do delete those things, because that's really not fair to the Islanders. Um, and then we have Shelly and Ace. Shelly and Ace come on the screen, join from the villa. They have the cocktails that Column has um, mixed up with some Cuervo. Um, and it's like a sweet drink, they say. And so they ask them some questions and talk to them. And just the way Ace looks at Shelly is so sweet. And they play the game, they talk. It's just questions like, who hogs the bed the most, who is the funniest, who has the best fits and wardrobe, just questions like that. And they each have to answer, and sometimes their answers match and sometimes they don't. But it was still a cute game for them, and they were like, oh, we're done already, because they enjoyed being out there and talking to Sophie and the panel, and they just look so cute. And at the end, they kiss. And I'm really, listen, it might all be a ruse, but I'm buying it. Okay, con me, because I'm eating it up. So after that, Charlie came on and he talked about how he felt about being dumped from the villa, and how he felt like him and Hannah were starting to have a connection. So he was sad about being dumped. And Sally had said all this stuff about Charlie, how she thought he was so good looking, and if he got dumped, did she want to talk to him? So then, now you're seeing him in the flesh. He comes on, and then Callum like switches seats with him so he can sit by Sally, and it's just like banter. Sally didn't mean that. She really didn't. It was just banter. She doesn't want to get with that man. I assure you, she doesn't. So Ariana comes back on and she informs us that Casa starts on Monday night for us. We start seeing it on our TVs on Monday night. And that this time the girls are going to Casa. As you know, last season the boys went to Casa. So this season the girls are going to Casa. And that Casa made some changes. They have like this revolving door, and 5 new people are coming in, and they just have all these different games and twists and turns at Casa. So she's like, it's gonna be juicy to watch. And so I'm excited about that. I'm so excited. Casa is wild. Casa week is wild. So I just don't know who's going to survive. The panel seems to think nobody's going to survive Casa except maybe Shelly and Ace. And I don't know, but they could be right. So now let's move on to Love Island episode 18. Okay, so we start off the episode. Huda is crying and she's talking to Sierra and Shelly about the challenge and how she felt singled out and who's got the beef challenge. She feels like people were dumping their milk like waste on her mostly, and it was hurting her feelings. And she doesn't know why she's being singled out. And the girls were trying to explain to her, no, we were just kind of answering the questions honestly. And that's just, we just picked you, if we did, and it wasn't like a big deal. Nobody's, like trying to single you out. And she's like, it's just hard for me to trust people and hard for me to make friendships. And, I don't have a lot of close friends. I just have 2. And so, but I really care about people. And so Shelly and Sierra were hearing her out. And Sierra was just real with her. She was like, listen, you don't really have to sell me on this. I just want you to know, I want you to prioritize yourself, get yourself in a better headspace than you've been in with Jeremiah, and just go out and just, live life for yourself and just do better. So she says that she will, and she hugs them and she tells them that she really cares about them. And I think to myself, I think that Huda's intentions are right in that instance where she really does want to be really good friends with them. And you can want something, but it doesn't mean that you know or have the ability to get it done. And I don't think that she necessarily knows how to be a good friend. I don't know if she really knows how to be a good friend. And not everybody knows how to be a good friend. I have learned that in my life. And sometimes you can't even hold it against people because they have just been brought up in an environment where it is a survival environment. They have to take and fight for everything, and it's not a loving or a nurturing, and they don't know anything about loyalty, and so they really just don't know how to be a friend. And you have to just accept that from them and just move on and just not set yourself up for heartache. So I really think that Huda really has intentions of trying to be a good friend to them and trying to develop good friendships. But I think she comes at it from a standpoint of what people are doing to her, and she kind of victimizes herself instead of being self-reflective and asking herself, what have I done for them to show them that I can be a good friend? Because he who wants friends must first show themselves to be friendly. So sometimes you have to ask yourself, what have I done to show that I can be a good friend? You know what I mean? So uh, I always say, you have to be self-reflective in some instances. You can't always think to yourself, why are people doing this to me? You have to sometimes say, what have I done to get this reaction from people? You know what I mean? So I just think that she has a problem with self-reflecting. So we'll see. So next, we see Jeremiah and Iris. They're having a conversation and they agreed that they're just going to be friends. Like they just have friend vibes and that's what they're going to be to each other. Um, they confide in each other. She tells him, listen, I'm going to just tell you this. Like when TJ pulled me for a chat and we were talking up in Soul Ties, we kissed. And Jeremy was like, oh, you freaky girl, you. Look at you. And then he's like, okay, well, I'm going to tell you, Adrena. Oh, I like saying her name. I hope I'm saying it right. He was like, when she pulled me and we had a chat, we kissed too. And so Iris was like, okay, so you're not going to tell anybody. We're not going to tell anybody that we kissed them. And this is going to be our secret. And they do like a little pinky thing on it. And they decide that they're going to be besties and they're going to have each other's back and look out for each other, but it's just friendship vibes. So next we cut to Olandria and Amaya talking. And so they are talking on the couch, and Amaya is expressing her frustration. She's telling Olandria, listen, when I call Austin babe, I can see that he's making this face and I don't really know what it's about, but I see that he's making this funny face, but he hasn't said anything to me. And she's just telling her, you know, I feel like in here people are making me feel like I'm crazy. Like, just how I express myself. And she starts getting emotional. She's like, I'm just gonna pull back. And Olandra is trying to reassure her, like, listen, sometimes men just don't know what they want. They say they want one thing, then when you give it to them, they don't want it. And, so she like, you have to do you and be yourself. But she's encouraging her. Yeah, if I were you, I would pull back. Like, don't keep giving him all of this and he's acting like he doesn't want it. So pull back. So you see her getting emotional, crying a little bit, but she decides that's what she's gonna do. Well, that's what she says she's gonna do. It goes to Nick and Sierra. They're having a chat. They talk about their previous night where they had intimacy. Well, today Nick is saying 30 seconds. He told Ace it was 25 seconds. So between 25 and 30 seconds, it was the best 25, 30 seconds of his life. But that's what they had, when they were doing the do under the covers. in the night in the villa. Okay. So they talk about that, and she says, I think after that happening, it's much harder for me to see you pull people for a chat and see you talking to other people. And I find myself wondering, like, what is he telling them? What is he saying to them in the chat? Because when I chat, she's telling him, when I chat with other people, no matter if I'm having a good chat with them or not, I always say to them, I just want to let you know, Nick and I have something really, really strong though. And she was like, I just don't know if you're saying that in your chats with other women, and I'm starting to feel some type of way about it. So he tells her, um, I understand what you're saying, but you're free to explore with other people if you want to. And she's like, I don't want to. I don't want to do that. I know I can, but I don't want to do that. And he was like, you have the freedom. And she says she doesn't want the freedom. It doesn't feel natural to her. He tells her that I have a good connection with you, but we're not closed off. And Ciara feels at this point, she's telling herself in the ITM, like, my feelings for him must be stronger than his feelings for me. So we cut to Ace and Shelly. Ace picks Shelly up and carries her over the sand to the little couch, and he sits her down. And when he sits her down, he sits her on his lap, but she kind of like scoots a little bit so that her butt is off of his lap and like sitting on the sofa, and her legs are just on his lap, and he's rubbing them. And he says, I've been waiting for this all day. And she's like, oh, you have? He like, yes. Um, he was like, I just love talking to you. She says, are you sure you're not sweet talking me? And he's like, no, I'm not sweet talking you. I'm really happy that I found somebody that makes me laugh, that doesn't take themselves too seriously, and that I can talk to about almost anything. And so he's cheesing. He like, I'm all cheesing, and then she's cheesing too. And she says that she feels the same way, and she feels like their relationship and them being in the couple is going so well, and it can only go up from here. So, she talks about that, and they continue to chat and just look at each other. And the way they look at each other, I'm gonna tell you, the way he looks at her, I'm not saying that they're in love or anything, but it's just the way in which he looks at her. If I were her, I would melt too. And I know he talks a good game and he's a smooth talker. But just the way he looks at her, if I were her, I would melt too. I would melt too. I really would. So he says his face is hurting because he's just cheesing so much. And he tells her that it's just great having someone like her to sleep next to him. She just makes him happy. And then they kiss. So then it becomes nighttime. It's bedtime in the villa. People are doing their nighttime routines. The girls are in the dressing room, and Ciara is doing her face routine, and she's kind of wiping around her eye, and you can tell like she's been crying and she's emotional. Amaya is sitting across from her and she's looking at her, but she's not quite saying anything, but she's looking at her with empathy. And then Huda comes in and she's like asking her what's wrong, and Ciara won't respond. And then Huda's like, do you not feel like talking about it? And Ciara still won't respond. So on the same time that this is going on, Nick is in the bathroom waiting to get ready to go, undressing to get ready to get in the shower. And he's having a conversation with the guys. I believe it's Austin. Who is in the shower? Is Ace in the shower? I'm not sure, but it's some other people in there, and they're asking him, so how's your chat with Ciara goes? And he's like, oh, it went really well. Like, her and our connection is getting so stronger. Like, I don't have a connection like that with anybody else, but I'm still not going to not have chats with Adriana. What's her name? I'm not saying it right. Adriana. Yeah. So he's Adriana, yes, Adriana, or something like that. It's like a Spanish feel. She's Dominican feel to how you say it. So she's saying, I have a connection with Sierra. It's stronger than any connection that I have with anybody else. But I'm still not going to not have conversations with the new bombshell. I'm gonna have those conversations. And I think that's just the difference between Nick's feelings and Sierra's feelings. So we then move to Olandria, Jeremiah, and Austin are on the bed. And I think they're in Austin's bed that he shares with Amaya. And so Olandria is like, "What's up with you and my girl?" And he's like, I never had somebody this crazy over me in 2 effing days. Like, it's just not normal. Like, who does that? And so Alandria's like, and then Jeremiah says, well, don't look at me. At least mine was mutual. And they all kind of bust out laughing because I guess he's like, well, I did have Huda like that in 2 days, but I was also doing that to her in 2 days. So ours was mutual. So, don't look at me. But you know. So they each laugh and then they go on about what they were saying. So people start coming into the bedroom, getting in their beds, and they head over to Nick. And Nick tries to, you know, Sierra gets in the bed, she has her eye mask on and stuff. And Nick tries to go over there and get on top of her, like, and cuddle with her. And he's like hugging her, and she like goes like this, like pats him on his back, and she's like, and he's trying, and she's like, oh, your body is just so warm, and she's like trying to slide from under him, and we have all been there. That is our way of saying, no, don't touch me. I'm just trying not to be nasty. I don't want to have an argument. So I can't just really come out and say to you, don't touch me. I'm not cuddling with you tonight. You know what you did. I'm not in the mood. So to keep it PC, not to say any of that, we'll make up an excuse. And her excuse was, oh, your body's just too warm. And she slides. But he looks at her and he knows what it is. He just rolls over to the side and goes to sleep. He knows what it is. The camera pans and everybody is cuddling. Olandria and Taylor are doing something in bed. It's not cuddling, but I don't know what they were doing. They were making some kind of motions, like pulling back the cover, and then I don't know if they were holding hands or they were doing something. But they were having physical contact, but it was real PG. And then everybody else was cuddling. Shelly and Ace were cuddling, and Ace seemed so happy cuddling with her. Austin, after he talked about somebody being crazy over him in 2 days, he was cuddling Amaya. He was cuddling with her. Pepe and Hannah were cuddling. And so everybody was cuddling except for Jeremiah and Iris, because we know they said they're going to be friendship, and Nick and Sierra, because she wasn't in the mood. So the next morning, we see that Hannah is at the breakfast nook, and the boys are, doing their routine of cooking breakfast. Pepe is blowing Hannah kisses. He's like blowing her, and she's catching them in the air and putting them on her lips, and catching them in the air and putting them on her lips. And it's just so cute. And it's just something that they're doing with each other. And then Charlie brings up, he's making like 4 cups. I think 2 are coffees, 2 are teas, or maybe they're all coffees. Not sure. But he takes it up to the girls like he did the day before. And he gives one to Sierra, one to Iris, one to Amaya, and one to Huda. And then he goes back downstairs. I don't see him making any breakfast. He just be bringing up them drinks. And so next, Nick brings Sierra breakfast, and he sees that not Charlie, he sees that TJ has brought Sierra some tea or coffee again, and he takes it. He like, you don't want this. He does not want that man bringing his girl nothing. It's like, I'm the only one to bring her breakfast. Don't play with me. So, but mind you, he still want to be open, but he don't want this man bringing her no tea or no coffee. Just remember that. And then they cut to Olandria, Taylor, and Huda, and they are having a chat about TJ. Huda says, "I think he's cute, and we had a nice chat. Um, we were talking, and he just seems really subtle, and I like that about him. I think he just comes off as really nice." And so Olandria is like, "Oh, really? Hold on, excuse me." Olandria's like, "Really?" And she goes to turn around, and Hood is like, "Don't turn around. He's right there. Don't turn around." And Taylor's laughing at them. And so then Nick and Ace are at the table. They're having a chat about Sierra, while Sierra and Shelly are on the sofas having a chat about Nick. Nick talks to Ace about the fact that Sierra was not feeling him last night in the bed. She wasn't trying to cuddle with him. And Ace was like, "I already know." When she walked into the bedroom, he said it was all over her body language. "I knew she wasn't about nothing." She wasn't going to play with you. She was not about you touching her. And so then you see Sierra telling Shelly that yesterday was a lot emotionally for her, and that she just feels like when she had her chat with Nick, she discovered that he's okay with them not being closed off, which means he's okay with being in another couple with somebody. And she's like, and if he's okay with being in a couple with somebody else, that means that his feelings for me are not as deep and strong as my feelings for him. And so, um, and so then they go to Ace, and Ace and Nick are having a chat. And Ace tells Nick, sex changes things. You and her have had sex, and now she has a different expectation of what you all are. She wants to be closed off, and you're not trying to be closed off. So that's going to be a problem for her. So Sierra says in her ICM, "I really think that I need to take my rose colored glasses off and see this for what it is and just take a step back." And she was talking to Shelly, and she was like, "Because I can't do this." And she felt herself about to cry, and Shelly's like, "Oh, you can let it out." She was like, "No, I cannot. I refuse." And she's like doing everything she can to make sure that tear doesn't drop, and she holds her head and holds her hair back. And she's just doing whatever she can. She sniffles a little bit, but she pulls it back in, and then she puts her head back, and she's like, "No, I refuse." And I get that. It's like, I refuse to let this man have me crying over him. And he's talking about he don't want to be closed off. No, absolutely not. So then we see Austin acting like he's doing his job at the villa, because he's a pool boy. So he's cleaning the pool. And as he's cleaning the pool, Amaya is being so encouraging. "Yeah, babe, clean that pool. You're doing such a good job." I mean, she does not know this man does not like her. She likes this man, and she's been nice to this man, but this man does not like her. And I feel bad for her. I do. I feel bad for her. Because she just wants to like somebody. Her and her Scorpio self, they just like human connection and physical touch most of the time. And she just wants somebody to cuddle with, somebody that wants her as much as she wants them and wants to hug her and touch her. She needs that, and she's just not getting that, and I feel bad for her. So um TJ and Iris have a chat. They talk about how much they enjoyed kissing each other the other day in the challenge, and that that was their favorite part of the day. They both agreed they want to continue to kiss each other. He asked her what did she do on a typical weekend when she's at home, and they talk. And he says he likes to build things, and she likes to go to the beach, and he likes to build things with Legos and stuff like that. And she said, "Oh, okay, I can do that." He was like, "You think we can build something together?" She's like, "Yeah, we can." So they get ready for the evening. Okay. As they get ready for the night, Hannah and Sierra discuss relationships in the dressing room. Hannah talks about how she kind of still misses Charlie, but she likes what she has with Pepe. and that it's different from Charlie though. Like Charlie's was good, but Pepper's is a more mature type of situation, and she likes that, and she thinks that she needed that, and she appreciates having it. And Sierra just talks about how, things are changing, and feelings are getting stronger, and they'll just see where things take them. So, Hannah and Pepe, they have a chat, after they come down the steps and everybody's meeted and they go in their area and they chat, and they were just talking. They were talking about heart rates and role playing. And then she was saying she likes vampires and she wants to do a vampire role play. And Pepe was like, "You are strange," but he likes it. But he was telling her she's strange. So then we see Olandria and Taylor walking to the dock. And she got on her heels and he helping her, holding her hand as they walk down to the dock. And once we see them walking down to the dock, um, we see that there is some fruit and chocolate set up, and it's something. And he like, "Did you set this up for me?" And she's like, "Yeah, I set that up for you." And she was like, "You're always doing really nice things for me, and I wanted to reciprocate and show you that I appreciate that." And he's like, "Oh, I appreciate you doing this." He was happy. So he sat down. They were eating the fruit and stuff. And she asked him, no, he asked her, "What's your favorite kind of fruit?" And she said pineapple. He's like, "Ew, I don't like pineapples." She like, "What?" He's like, "Anything with pineapple juice, I don't want it. I don't like it at all." And she's looking at him like, "You're weird." She's like, "What's your favorite fruit?" He was like, "Apricots." And you don't really hear people say apricots are their favorite fruit often or whatever. And he's telling her that his grandfather, lives out in the country. As we know, he's a country person from Oklahoma. He like, "So my grandfather lived out in the country," and that's funny coming from somebody who lives in the country, but then they're describing their family members talking about, no, they really live in the country. Like he lives in the city country, I guess, and his granddad live in the country. And he's like, he has all these fruit trees. They have blueberry trees, apricot trees. What else? Other kind of trees that he said, pear trees. Like he was just saying he had different. Did he say cherries too? And so he said when they would go over there, and his grandpa would be like, "Boy, go ahead, get you some of them blueberries and stuff, and get you some fruit." And he said that he would get an apricot, and it would be so fire. He was like, it would be so good, fresh off the tree. And she was like, "Oh, that makes me think about my grandmother." She was like, "My grandmother used to have plum trees when I was younger." And she was like, we would get the plums. She was like, she had purple plums, red plums, and green plums. And she was like, I would get the plum off and I would wash off and eat it, and it would be so good. So they each talk about that. And she's like, "Yeah, I just want to ride off in the sunset with my countryman, my cowboy. That's just what I want to do at the end." And she was like, "I want that fairy tale." And he's like, "I'm gonna give it to you. I got you." So I thought that was cute, and I think he really does like her. I just think that he's socially awkward. I really do. I think he's socially awkward, and so he doesn't always, know exactly how to express himself. But I think he really, really does like Olandria. So, and I think she really likes him. Um, so, um, then we cut to TJ and Huda. He pulls her for a chat and he tells her, "Hey, I just want to have a chat with you and I want to be fully transparent and upfront with you. I want you to know that I've enjoyed our chats, but I don't have that kind of connection with you. I only see this as a platonic thing." Um, and she was like, "Can I ask why?" And he was like, "I don't think there's any particular reason why." He's like, "I just feel like from our conversations, we just didn't connect in that way. And I just didn't want you to feel like I was leading you on or, not being open and transparent about my feelings." And she's like, "Okay, well, that's fine. Usually I have men who are obsessed with me like so quickly and you weren't like that, and that was something different for me, and I was kind of open to it to see like, oh, this is different. And she was like, but it's okay. I'm not one of those people that if you tell me you don't like me, I'm gonna say F you or something. And I'm thinking, oh, you're not one of those type of people? Because you could have fooled me. Because that's what happened when Jeremiah, you call him a DICK, a PUSSY, a BITC. I mean, and you said F you. So that's why he wanted to be upfront with you, because he probably heard how you were doing with Jeremiah, and he don't want that smoke. He don't want y'all to be arguing, so he want to tell you upfront. Yeah, I'm not gonna. Don't see you like that. So let me just let you know before you get your feelings involved, and then start calling me out my name. That's what I mean with Huda. She's not able to self reflect. She don't. She don't get it. She does not get it. Oh, anyway. So, um, cut to Jeremiah and Adriana. They're having a chat, and they're just talking, and she is mesmerized. Okay, let me tell you something. This woman is beautiful. Her body is tea. She got it going on. She likes her some Jeremiah. I am surprised. She like talked to all the boys, but she found out very early that she wanted Jeremiah. That's who she wants. And she got her eyes on him, and she eating up everything he's saying, honey. And he over there sweating because he really like her and they have a connection. And the guys are over there, and I feel like they were standing over there hating. I really do, especially Ace. I just felt like they were hating on Jeremiah. And although I'm not like a big Jeremiah fan, I could tell that they had a connection, and I don't understand why you're hating on that. Ace is like, here he go again. Somebody come in as his type. He zero in on them again, and then friend zone everybody else and don't see nothing but that person. He ain't learned nothing. That's just how he does. Okay, but he tried to explore with Iris. He's not going to try to explore with anybody that y'all are coupled up with. They've been here since day one, and he didn't feel a connection to them, and y'all are already coupled with them. He's not going to do that. Just like it's hard for Huda to try to do that. He's not going to do that. He's only going to try to connect with the new people that come in. He tried it with Iris, and it didn't work. But now they're friends, and now this his type comes in, and he's focused on her, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't understand why they're hating on that. It's like Ace just does not like him, point blank, period, and he just needs to say that he just doesn't like him. And Nick and Taylor, although I like them, they just follow down by whatever Ace say. They just follow down behind it. So we see them kiss, and everybody's watching them kiss. The boys watching them kiss, hating. The girls are like, oh, and Huda starts clapping. And I think she's getting to the point where she's like, I'm just gonna try to be happy for him. Like, I can't even hate on him no more. I'm just gonna try to be happy for him. She was clapping, and so they were kissing. And then they stop, and then as they're kissing, Nick gets a text, and it says, Islanders gather at the fire pit immediately. When they sit down, Huda gets a text that says America has been voting for their favorite boy and their favorite girl. Ace then gets a text that says people, the three Islanders, the three girl Islanders and three boy Islanders with the least amount of votes will be vulnerable. So then Austin reveals. So then somebody else gets a text, and I didn't write it down. I think it was Jeremiah gets a text, and he tells all the girls to get up and go to the front. Maybe that was Taylor. I can't remember. Tells all the girls to get up and go to the front. So they all get up and go to the front, and they're standing there. And then Austin gets a text, and he reveals the first girl safe is Alandria. So Taylor over there cheesing. She's relieved. She goes sit down by her man, and he wraps his arm around her, and then she rubbing his thigh. They excited. And then Pepe reveals that the second girl safe is Sierra. She goes and sits by Nick. He's happy. They kiss. Then Nick says that the third girl who is safe is Shelly. She's excited. Ace is so excited. She goes sit down, and Ace like, oh, shoot. I'm so glad. I'm happy. I ain't want to have to whoop America's ass. He was over there waiting to tell. And then Jeremiah says the final girl safe is Huda. So those four, because remember it was 7 girls and 6 boys. So Huda is so there's 4 girls safe. So Huda's the last one safe. So 3 girls still standing up there are Iris, Hannah, and Amaya. Those are the 3 girls still up there. So then Shelly gets a text and tells the guys to go stand in the front of the fire pit. So they're all standing there. Sierra gets a text and says the first boy that is safe is Taylor. He's excited. He goes and sits back down by his honey. They're excited. Alondra says the second boy safe is Nick. He goes and sits back down next to Sierra, and they're all happy. They kiss. Huda says the third boy safe is, and then she smiles, Ace. And then he's so excited, and he goes and sits next to Shelly, and they kiss. And Shelly was like, I was nervous. He was like, my stomach was in my ass. And she was like, I'm nervous. I didn't want to start crying. I was like, oh, Lord, don't do this to me. So they're happy. So that leaves 3 guys still standing, which is Austin, Jeremiah, and Pepe. So then they get a text, and the text says that the 3 people left, of the 3 boys and 3 girls left that are vulnerable, somebody will be done from the island, and it is up. And Alandra reads, it is up to the safe islanders to vote on who gets dumped. So the girls will get in a group, and they will decide which girl gets dumped, and the boys will get in a group and decide which boy gets dumped. Let me tell you, when they did that, I already knew what it was going to be for boys. I did not know what it was going to be for girls. I thought the girls were going to pick Amaya. I said they're going to pick Amaya because Amaya is struggling to have a connection. She thinks she has a connection with Austin, but she really does not. So I was like, it's going to be a struggle, but they're going to send her home. They're going to hate to do it, but they're going to send her home. But that's not what happens. The girls pick. Shelly stands up. It's the hardest thing we had to do. We're all so close. It's like breaking up the sisterhood. Y'all are one of our roots. It's just very difficult. We're just going off of all the experiences that the person has had, and we feel like they've explored a lot and all of this stuff. And then they say, so the person we dump is Hannah. And she is like, what? What? She is upset, crying, busting out crying, because she is super emotional. And they're looking, and the boys are like, what? We didn't expect that. That's the last person we expected. So the boys are shocked too. Pepe is upset. Hannah is so upset. She's really upset with them. And Shelly is just standing there like a deer in headlights. Sierra is crying. It's just like, what are we gonna do? What should we do? I don't know what to do. We had to pick somebody. That's who we pick. I don't know. I would love to know what their reasoning was. Maybe they felt, I don't know. Maybe they felt like she was so into Charlie. She did all of that to say, cried and stuff when he got sent home, and then bounced back just like that with Pepe. So maybe, she can go home. And maybe they felt like they wanted to save Amaya because they felt like she didn't get a fair shot. And maybe they were like, somebody else could come in and give her that shot, And maybe they thought Iris has a connection with TJ, and they probably also felt like Iris didn't get a fair shake from her coming in and being in the middle of Jeremiah and Huda. And so they were just like, well, let's just let Hannah go. I don't know. I would really want to know though, what was their rationale behind it. Whew. So then that was over. So then it was the boys' turn. And I said to myself, the correct answer is for them to send Austin home, but that's not what they're going to do. Because they've been hating on this man since day one, and now they got the opportunity to send him home, and that's what they did. The boys chose to send Jeremiah home, and he was shocked. And Adriana was upset because that's her connection. And the girls were like, huh? Even Hannah was up. Huda was upset. So it was just a mess. It was just a mess. And I was just, even though I knew they were going to do it, I was hoping they weren't going to do it. I knew they were going to do it, but I was hoping that they weren't going to do it. And I think that, I don't know. I don't know. I just think that they probably know Casa is coming up, and they probably thought this man ain't gonna do nothing in Casa. He gonna be with this new girl Bombshell, and he just gonna be focused on her, and he not gonna explore. And I'm, I don't know. I'm thinking that's why, but I also think they just had something against him from the beginning. I just don't know if it was the right decision, but it is the decision that they have made. When they went back to the dressing room, the girls were just so upset, and they were like, we're so upset." And Hannah was like, "I don't even know how to talk to people who just voted for me to go home, and y'all was supposed to be my friends. I don't even know how to talk to y'all." She was upset, honey. And the girls couldn't do anything, but Olandra was like, "I think of you as like a sunflower. You're just a light." It was a hard decision. And I'm sure it really was. They couldn't win either way. And I just don't understand why the show keeps putting the power in their hands. Let us vote. We know who we want out. Let us do it. I'm sick of that. Don't let them vote no more. We want to vote. Let us do it. I'm sick of that. And so, because y'all don't never get it right, they don't do what we want them to do. Let us do it. So, then Jeremiah was like upset, and they were like, "It wasn't nothing personal, man. I'm telling you, we put all friendships aside. It was just, I don't believe that. I think it was personal. But oh well, it is what it is." And Nick was like, "You one of the closest people to me." I'm like, "Nick, you say that out your mouth, but you really move with Ace and Taylor. You don't move with Jeremiah. You keep saying you and Jeremiah close, but that's not how you move. You move like your loyalty is to Ace and Taylor, and Ace and Taylor only. You know what I'm saying?" So anyway, but that's where we're at. So now we have um 6 girls and 5 guys left in the villa. For couples, we have Ace and Shelly, Olandria and Taylor, Nick and Sierra, Amaya and Austin. Iris is by herself. TJ is by himself. And Adriana is by herself. So we have 3 people who are not in a couple. And tomorrow starts Casa Amor. So we shall see. They showed a quick picture of the men coming in and the women coming in. And these men do look a little better than what they've been sending in. I'm going to tell you now. These men were looking a little better. It seemed like it was somebody who was Asian. Looked like an Asian man, and he looked kind of cute. Looked like 3 black guys, a white guy, and an Asian guy. I don't know. I think at a glance that's what I saw. And then women, I thought I saw. Did I see 3 black women, a Hispanic woman, and a white woman? I don't know. It was real quick. I need to go back and look at it. But I just wanted to come over here and give my review really quick while I felt like it before I got tired and started watching other stuff. Thank you. Nobody joined me. I did this live and nobody joined, but I didn't know how to alert people. I forgot to alert people that I was doing the live. So maybe someone can catch it later on. And if you do, you'll comment and tell me what you thought about the episode. Do you think the women made the right decision to send Hannah home? Do you think the guys made the right decision to send Jeremiah home? Who would you have sent home instead if you don't think it's the right decision? And are you excited about Casa Amor? And who do you think is vulnerable in Casa Amor? Please leave your comments. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you. I'm going to start doing more of this. I'm going to learn how to advertise it. I'm going to get better and better at this. Okay? All right. Until next time. Love you.